The monk. What to do about the monk? So, redesigning the monk. My first impulse is the 4th edition monk was really good. We'll just do that. Give them a bunch of maneuvers. Each maneuver has an attack technique and a movement technique. They're tied together. So like if you use one, you can use the other in the same turn and you can't mix and match. So that gives you these sort of like martial arts forms. As you enter one, do an attack or do a move, it gives you access to the other one because it's part of the same form. I think that is incredibly evocative and is one of the reasons why the monk is so beloved in 4th edition, aside from just being really strong. The monk is super duper well written in 4th. The problem is, I don't think it would work in 5th. Would it be too powerful to just port it over 1-for-1? No, I don't think so. It's still not going to compare with things like Wizard, who can win a whole encounter on their own because they aren't interacting with the enemy. They're stopping the enemy from interacting. So I don't think it would be too powerful, but it would be really incongruous. It would be really weird. To to have the kinds of things that a 4th edition monk is doing happen in 5th edition. Why is that? Well, it's the removal of the move action. So here's the thing. Removing the move action as a mechanic and making it just you have a certain amount of movement every turn really gets in the way of making extra special movement abilities. And basically the only thing you can do with it most of the time is give extra move speed. That's why the rogue gets extra move speed, or the rogue doesn't get extra move speed. They dash as a bonus action. The monk gets extra move speed. The barbarian gets extra move speed. They don't get any kind of like special movement techniques because there's no move action to do them with. And whenever these things do pop up, often as spells, they're bonus actions, which prevents you from doing other things with your bonus action. So the loss of the move action has really limited the design of movement-related abilities. And that's why you don't see very many of them in 5th edition. They're not very popular. They're hard to implement, and oftentimes they take up your bonus action. Bonus actions are actually really important for some characters. So how to solve this? Well, I think some measures could be taken to reintroduce the special movement action. So one, kind of like how casters functionally have an additional quasi-action. I kind of talked about this before in a couple of videos on concentration. The concentration mechanic is kind of like an extra action that only casters get access to. It's something that you're doing every turn without spending any of your other actions on. So it's a quasi-action. I think introducing a new action type for the monk could be really cool. A unique action just for the monk. No one else gets this. And would call it the like martial arts action. So like each turn, you can do a martial arts action in addition to your action and your bonus action and your movement. And a martial arts action is going to be some sort of movement ability and and built into that modifiers for your attacks during the round. So usually you're going to be doing a martial arts action first. And it's kind of like picking a stance to get into or picking a form to adopt. And that's how I would name them, is that they're named after like certain martial arts forms that the monk can use that is going to do a little bit of movement and give modifications to the attack. Real low level stuff, probably just like adding to damage. You know, if you're getting like +2, like add your proficiency modifier to your damage rolls. That'd be pretty cool when combined with things like Flurry of Blows. By the way, Flurry of Blows, I think making a bunch of small, inconsequential attacks is a waste of time. So I'd probably just I'd revert Flurry of Blows to the 4th edition version, where it's if you hit with an attack, you can spend a free action or for free once per turn. You can just do extra damage to another character. Just automatic damage. I'm cool with automatic damage in small amounts. It's actually significantly less powerful in 5th edition than it was in 4th when monks just got that. So Flurry of Blows, no longer a bonus action. it'd be a free thing you just do after you hit with an attack with either a monk weapon or an unarmed attack. The other thing is that unarmed attacks need to start competitive with weapons, because the monk is a melee character. There's no reason for them to start off with very, very low damage. So I think starting off basic attack, your unarmed dice should start at D8 and then scale up to D10 pretty early. I would implement the standard scaling of attacks, so you get extra attack at level 5, 11, and 17, just like cantrips get. And I'm actually, so remember when I was talking about the fighter, I didn't want to scale things up with extra attack. I think putting more damage onto individual attacks is a generally better design. For the monk specifically, I think more attacks is evocative of the fantasy. You are going to attack a lot of times. So I'd preserve extra attack as a monk thing. And would I give that to anybody else? I don't know if I would give that to anybody else. I think just the monk. Yeah, because lots of attacks is kind of their thing. So you get free flurry of blows, which is just like, your wisdom modifier in damage for free to an adjacent or to an enemy within reach after hitting with an attack once per turn. So that frees up your bonus action, because the bonus action is going to be used for other things. You have a martial arts action that you're going to sort of kind of figure. You can kind of think of it as like a stance that you're adopting every turn. You should do it at the start of your turn, usually, but you don't have to, because it's going to enhance your attacks that you make during that turn, in addition to doing movement-related stuff. But you can use it after, like, say you want to attack and then run away. You could do that too. Although I think I probably have martial arts stuff for that. Like, some sort of attack bonus, and then also move that, when you move this turn, you don't provoke opportunity attacks, that kind of thing. Just sort of reintroduce the idea that a monk's offense and their mobility are tied together into single martial arts forms. I think that's super, super evocative, and I think that preserving that is a good thing to do. So the martial arts action, which would be the majority of the class's identity, I think. Because your attacks are just going to be attacks. You start at D8, maybe at some point upgrade to a D10. I don't think there's really much of a need to go beyond that, because you're going to be getting other bonuses like that. The die of your unarmed attacks is not going to be the main source of your damage. The main source of your damage is going to be all your martial arts that's giving you bonuses, giving you more attacks, giving you improved opportunity attacks. Like maybe there could be that could be a martial arts thing where, like, when you use this martial art until the end of your turn, or until the beginning of your next turn, your opportunity attacks do like ×3 damage, because a single opportunity attack is largely meaningless once you get up into like tier 2. So like, triple your opportunity attack damage and knock the target prone if you hit. That kind of stuff. Because then you could position yourself a little bit more aggressively, because usually the monk is going to want to like move in, hit, move out, using the martial arts action to do so. So like you get a little extra move in, attack with bonuses from your martial art, and then use your normal move speed to get away. That's going to be kind of your thing. You're going to hit and run, going to position yourself defensively behind allies or adjacent to the fighter, because the fighter can protect you. These kinds of, that's going to be the main gameplay loop, is figuring out how to get in, make melee attacks, and get out pretty safely. And so I would want to give the monk tools to do that, because right now they don't really have the tools to do that. They can get in or they can get out. They probably can't do both, and they're not doing much damage in the meantime. So I want them to be able to do all three in a turn. And then your bonus action is going to be largely used for monk utility stuff. I like the idea of the monk being able to self-heal. I like the idea of the monk being able to sort of like do quasi-magic things. because they are a sort of like magic adjacent spiritualism kind of class. That's their identity. So that's going to incorporate into not just their ability to perform feats of martial prowess, but also their ability to like maybe they can heal themselves, maybe they can heal others, maybe certain subclasses can heal others. I don't know what the subclasses would necessarily point to. I think they would be like different martial arts forms that give you additional options for those kinds of things. But your bonus action is going to be for, if you want to do like a little like flash step, for all the anime fans out there, you know what a flash step is? You kind of like, it's not really teleportation, but it looks like teleportation. We disappear, reappear somewhere else. That'd be a bonus action. Additional mobility in a sort of pseudo magical way. And I think that would be largely the domain of the bonus action. So yeah, I think giving monks full extra attack scaling, in addition to damage bonuses from a martial arts action that is unique to them, and a selection of martial arts forms, kind of equivalent to spells. And I'm trying to think, like, would there be a resource to this? Like, does ki need to be a thing? Probably, well, maybe. Yeah, okay, you know what? Now thinking about it, I think ki is an important thing. I think ki should be a resource. I don't know how I would have it. Could it be a short rest resource? Maybe a short rest resource. And so you would spend ki on certain forms. Some forms would cost no ki. Those would be your basic forms. But you could spend ki to do more advanced forms, and that would give you bigger and bigger bonuses. So that gives you an incentive not to always just use your biggest and strongest form all the time. So I kind of like that. And I think that is how I would redesign the monk. Pretty straightforward, actually, talking about it. It would take a lot of work to come up with all the different forms. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like I always say, you cannot fix martials in 5th edition without giving them some sort of maneuver abilities. And that is always going to be a lot of work. You cannot fix martials algorithmically. That's never gonna solve the problem. You might algorithmically make martials more powerful. You can't make them more interesting that way. So yeah, it would be a lot of work to come up with all the forms, probably broken up into tiers. I don't know. That's just an idea. Yeah. How I'd redesign the monk.